Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 1 in a best of 1 between Maker and Lucifer. We have Lucifer spawning as the yellow undead over here on the bottom left hand side of Secret Valley. Meanwhile on the top right we have Maker spawning as the blue undead. Undead versus undead in this best of 1 as well. I can guarantee you an undead player will win unless for some crazy reason the creeps decide to go crazy. Now anyways, let's go ahead and break things down here. We are going to be opening up with that graveyard crypt and altar of darkness. That means that the blue player Maker will be going for crypt fiends. Meanwhile, it looks as though it is going to be a similar build here on the other side of the map by Lucifer, as I will probably be referring to the players as yellow and blue throughout the rest, as opposed to trying to remember who is what and who is who. Just, well, look at the names and know what is going on. All right, crypt is going to be done here. Ziggurat is now done. We are getting close to the 2-minute mark, but both players delayed their altar of darkness and hence will not be able to get their hero out at that 2-minute 5-second mark. What we will perhaps be seeing is a Crypt Fiend popping on out. It looks as though it pops out at the 2-minute 20-second mark. It is going to try and attack and then perhaps pull units back to its base. Or no, it looks as though this is going to be a straight up attack here. This one lone Crypt Fiend now making its way out, perhaps trying to do a little bit of a damage steal. Another Crypt Fiend going to be added here. Death Knight now making its round. The Crypt Fiend is, well, already making its rounds here. Took out a sheep and now making its way back over. Rod of Necromancy now in hand as Skeletal Minions and a Crypt Fiend are making their wet rounds out. Death Knight of Lucifer going to be doing some aggressive creeping as well. There's a Death Coil trying to take down the Null Assassins. Not quite sure what that was about. Null Assassin taking a Death Coil relatively early on. Meanwhile, Tome of Strength has been dropped. Down at the other end of the map, you can see the Crypt Fiends are doing a bit of battling. Tome of Agility going to be left behind for the blue undead player, as he's going to be picking that up most likely right there. All right, Skeletal Minions are wandering around. Not quite sure why don't they just stay in position, as we can see a little bit of that damage over time. Now, Death Knight sitting at 205 mana compared to this Death Knight sitting at 190. And even though they both cast one cast of that Death Coil, because Lucifer was able to cast that out a little bit faster, he does have just a little bit more mana going into this next engagement. All right, Death Knight sitting at 238, 204 right there. It looks like both of them actually cast multiple Death Coils, as we're going to be looking at a Null Brute once again getting taken down and dropping a Tome of Strength, which will be picked up by the blue undead Maker. Now let's take a look at what's going to be happening here. Death Knight now wandering around here, Skeletal Minion getting taken out, trying to do a little bit of creeping here, but we are not going to be having any of that by Lucifer. All right, Ensnare now going down. Skeletal Minions are trying to run away down to 21 hit points. Beautiful micro there to save a very, very low hit point unit from those ranged Crypt Fiends. Always much more difficult than it looks, as another round of Skeletal Minions getting taken down. All right, and you can still see both sides backing off, back and forth. Two low hit point Crypt Fiends. Death Knight sitting at, what, 261 experience. I believe Lucifer is slightly ahead at 273. Crypt Fiend is going to be backing off here, as we can see more action coming across. It looks as though those blue Crypt Fiends will be finishing this off here without much of an issue. Death Knight now heading back home, picks up a ring of, sells an item, holds onto the Ring of Protection. A Rod of Necromancy was actually used, not sold, as more Skeletal Minions will be joining in on the fight. These Crypt Fiends are trying to keep track of this Ogre Magi creep camp, making sure that it is not easily crept out by his opponent, as the Death Knight should be coming across here with a Death Coil in just a moment. All right, Death Knight turns around, does get the Death Coil off, continuing to fight back. It looks as though some of those Skeletal Minions could get taken out. There it goes. There goes one. Another round or another volley could be coming into play, as well as the Death Knight should really be launching a Death Coil there to try and save, but was already at maximum mana. So that was actually a little bit of a loss for our Maker, as Maker could have been recharging more mana as well. Death Knight now looking to engage back once more. Crypt Fiend, Skeletal Minions getting taken out. Are we going to see a Death Coil land onto that Crypt Fiend again? That is going to be the big question. There's multiple units with relatively low hit points, as we are now making our way back off to the north. Death Coil does save that Crypt Fiend there. Everyone is now back on Blight, but home field advantage is given to that player whose buildings it actually is his home. Those towers will add a little bit of slowness to any of those crypt fiends, as we're still looking at a bit of a tug of war or a war push between both of these sides. No one wants to push that deep. They do not want to take that much free damage, but they do not want to give the opportunity for their opponent to really catch up. Now, Ogre Warrior, is it going to get taken out? Yes, it will. Sitting at still about 2.5. Death Knight now looking to come across here, still trying to finish off more units, as the Crypt Fiends may try to go after more and more of these units. Death Knight, Skeletal Minions, quickly getting taken down. More Skeletal Minions getting taken down. There goes another, as the Death Knight now goes after this one particular low hit point Crypt Fiend. Alright, there you go, continuing to fight this out here. Crypt Fiends are trying to battle it out. Death Knight is going to be able to save that Crypt Fiend. No, it will not. But the Death Knight now completely surrounded. And this could be very, very bad news, as this Death Knight is still in trouble. Are we going to see a Death Coil? No Death Coil. Crypt Fiend now tries to head off back to the north, but the Skeletal Minions have finished it off. Beautiful play there, as Maker is now in a little bit of trouble. But he does have time here to clear out this creep camp. Alright, Ogre Magi taking a lot of damage here. Lich is staying at level 1. It looks as though it will get to level 2 after clearing out the no, actually it will not get to, it might actually get to, this is a 5-3-3 creep camp. I don't know if anything else was cleared out. Death Knight needs to heal back up. What is he going to really pick up from this shop? Not quite sure. Another Rod of Necromancy. No Orb of Corruption as of yet, as the Lich is going to be just shy, I believe. Nope, I take it back. 211 experience, as he will be able to either get Dark Ritual or Silence. Death Knight uncomfortably sitting at level 2 right now. Do we have a web? That is the next major question here, as the Death Knight needs to heal back up. All right, going straight after all of these units. No Warden is going to be taking a little bit of damage. Death Knight is right here nearby as well. Crypt Fiends are now backing off. Skeletal Minions joining in. Lucifer doing the same thing. Lich is also getting in some creeping by himself, and we'll see if the Lich is able to do enough damage here to get to, well, level 3, get more economy, and perhaps get Lucifer in a better position moving out after being forced to use that Scroll of Town portal early. Now, the Red Drakes do have a web. Death Knight now sitting at level 3. Lich is going to be by himself. I believe the Red Drake is now going to get taken out. There it goes. Item is going to be a Belt of Giant Strength, quickly most likely given to that Death Knight, as the Death Knight needs every bit of hit points that it can get, as it does tend to stay in that front line for a very long time.
A player's forces are
Lucifer being very gutsy at this point, going after an Ogre Lord creep camp that is more or less on his opponent's side of the map. If this is very, very high risk, high reward calculations here, as the Death Knight takes up a Medallion of Courage, Strength, and Intelligence given to the Lich. He needs a little bit more hit points and a little bit more mana for all of those Frost Novas. Both sides are getting, well, I believe getting those Obsidian statues, and I think we should be getting up a Dark Ranger as well by Maker, as we can see one Skeletal Minion just trying to bum rush this line here, only to get taken out before the sword swing has been completed. All right, Maker now backing off here. This is potentially very bad news. What is going to go down here, as the Ogre Lord is going to be taking a little bit of damage. Now looking to back off here. All right, Dark Ranger now needs to back away. Death Knight, Dark Ranger straight down this alley. Perhaps they spotted each other, perhaps not, as we are still seeing both of these sides engage. All right, Maker does spot this, as Lucifer is going to clear out the other Ogre Lord creep camp. Potential creep jack here, but the creeps are going to be in between. Will the Death Knight of Maker be able to steal some of these key items? That is going to be a very, very big question indeed. Now, as we see, oh, there's a Frost Nova, but it was not enough. There goes one Crypt Fiend, and this could potentially be bad. There goes another Crypt Fiend. That silence is absolutely deafening, as he cannot Death Coil in time. All right, late Death Coil there, so both sides unable to save some of those Crypt Fiends, as the Death Knight now in a little bit of trouble. There goes another Crypt Fiend there, as a Frost Nova does go down. All right, are we going to see Maker lose that Crypt Fiend? Yes, he is. There's a Frost Nova, Potion of Healing, as the Death Knight now down to 346 hit points. Both sides are still fighting. There goes an Obsidian statue, and it is not a good day to be a unit here. on Secret Valley, as both sides have been dealing tremendous and terrible damage to each other. All right, Death Coil now saving that Crypt Fiend again. Are we going to see a Frost Nova on the Death Knight? No, Death Knight able to back away. Death Coil saving Maker's Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend now needs to back off. Skeletal minions are still coming across here. Dark Ritual, no Dark Ritual. Lich now going back the other way. Does have a potion of healing. The Death Knight now down to 294 hit points, 281, as some of those units are going to get, well, perhaps taken out again. All right, continuing the fight. There goes another Crypt Fiend, and Maker is losing or taking down a lot more units than I believe he is losing himself. The Death Knight has not been able to freely engage, and that has been the big issue, being forced to constantly run back and forth just to be able to heal all of his units. Level 3, level 3, level 1, going up against level 3, level 3, level 1. There goes Frost Nova onto the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger, however, back into this game. Potion of Invulnerability on the Death Knight. Death Knight now being forced to back off. Is he actually going to try and clear out this creep camp during this time? This is potentially very bad play here, as the Death Knight now looks to wander in. More creeps are looking to chase, getting in a little bit of free damage there, as the Death Knight, with one Obsidian statue, these 4 units still trying to fight their way through. All right, Crypt Fiends looking to back off here. Obsidian statue is now still playing it safe, as another Obsidian statue is being added. It looks like Lucifer has the stronger army, but he is not willing to really pull the trigger and engage. Mana must be an issue, as we're looking. No, mana is not the issue. The Death Knight has plenty of mana. As long as the Death Knight stays alive, he should be fine. Those Obsidian statue still in the background here, and I think Lucifer, if he ends up trying to creep this out, he is going to end up being squeezed between these creeps and his opponent, and that is just not a good spot to be in. All of a sudden, he's going to be slightly behind in terms of the overall army fight because of these 3 forest trolls. They are doing some damage back on the other end there. Meanwhile, the Death Knight down to 59 hit points, still wandering around safely and still able to somehow survive. There is one destroyer up into the air. Crypt Fiends now get a web down, as we still see some Obsidian statues. Death Knight now looking to come across here. Are we going to get a free Crypt Fiend while in transit, as an Obsidian statue does get taken down? All right, Crypt Fiend down to 74 hit points. One more shot should do it, and unable to do so. Death Coil onto the Dark Ranger, as the Dark Ranger will slither back and be able to get away. 49 over 50 supply compared to, well, I believe that's 50 over 50. As the Death Knight still needs to heal back up. This is still rather strange. 47 over 50 now. One Crypt Fiend looks like it was lost in transit, perhaps, as the Destroyer now looking to finish off all of these remaining units. What is going to be that follow-up play? Can the Dark Ranger, Lich, and Death Knight clear out this expansion or this Fountain of Health off over here? If they are able to do exactly that, they should still be fine. That negative armor really taking its toll on the remainder of the units, as the Death Knight now coming in from behind as well. Dark Ranger is going to be fairly okay, and this is going to be one of those situations where if Maker can fight at the Fountain of Health and has the fountain while his opponent doesn't, well, his opponent should not even bother trying to engage. Too much damage mitigated, as another Belt of Giant Strength given to the Lich. That is plus 300 hit points right there. Give that to the Death Knight, and all of a sudden the Death Knight sits at 1100 hit points and probably can stick around in those front lines for far too long. Also, that additional plus 12 attack would be extremely beneficial. Lich now realizes how far of, or how bad of a situation he is currently in. Are we going to see an engagement here? That is going to be the big issue in question, as we now need to back off here. All right, Crypt Fiend taking a lot of damage. Are we going to see a Death Coil there? No. Silence straight up onto that Death Knight first of all, as the Destroyer quickly focused down. Death Knight now getting silenced the other way. Are we going to see a Death Coil? Yes, we are. A beautiful save right there, and it looks as though, no, another Death Coil coming across here. So both sides, devour magic from those units. Maker devouring magic off of those skeletal minions, as the Death Coil unable to save in time. Lucifer losing a little bit of mana right there. All right, Lucifer losing an Obsidian statue, and this is just still so bad, as Maker loses one Destroyer. All right, both sides losing, Lucifer losing a lot of units. Down across over here, and Maker over here on the top right, the blue and the yellow, both of them still trying to fight their way through. Is that going to be saved? Yes, it will be, as the Death Knight, yellow Death Knight, now tries to slither away. All right, Lich does not have enough for a Frost Nova, but is now currently surrounded. Death Knight is nearby, does not have mana, transfers a potion of lesser invulnerability. Frost Nova there does have a pipe, so trying to get as much mana as possible, as we are still seeing all the units trying to get away. All right, that Crypt Fiend or Death Knight down to 19 hit points will be able to get back. No, Death Knight falls, and the Death Knight falling there, and there is the GG. Maker squeaking out after losing some early skirmishes as he moves on to the later rounds of MooCup. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 1 series.